Telephones were nothing more than a wild fantasy until a man named Alexander Graham Bell came along and decided to change history. His inspiration? The already popular telegraph. The telegraph and telephone use wires to send electrical signals. Alexander Graham Bell improved the telegraph to create the telephone. The telegraph could only send one message at a time, but Bell wanted to send multiple messages at once. He knew a lot about sound and music, so he came up with the idea of sending different notes or signals at different pitches over the same wire. This was called the harmonic telegraph, and it allowed for multiple messages to be sent at the same time. In 1874, Bell told his father-in-law about his idea for a multiple telegraph that could send multiple messages over the same wire. His father-in-law saw the potential for breaking the monopoly of the Western Union Telegraph Company and funded Bell's work. Bell was also secretly working on a device that could transmit speech electrically with the help of a young man named Thomas Watson. In March of 1875, Bell met with Joseph Henry, the director of the Smithsonian Institute, to share his idea for a telephone. Henry was encouraging, which motivated Bell and Watson to continue their work. By June 1875, they'd proven that different tones could vary the strength of an electrical current in a wire. They only needed to build a working transmitter and receiver to reproduce these variations in audible frequencies to achieve their goal of transmitting speech electrically. Did you know which famous American city was the first to receive a telephone line? Well, stay tuned because the answer's coming up next. In 1876, Bell patented the telephone device, and it became popular quickly. The first regular telephone line from Boston to Somerville, Massachusetts, was built in 1877, and by the end of 1880, there were over 49,000 telephones in the United States. In the following years, telephone service was established between Boston and Providence, Rhode Island, and between New York and Chicago, and New York and Boston. In 1915, transcontinental service began. In 1877, Bell founded his Bell Telephone Company, and as the industry expanded rapidly, he acquired his competitors. After a series of mergers, the American Telephone and Telegraph Company, or AT&T, was established in 1880. Because Bell held the intellectual property and patents behind the telephone system, AT&T had a virtual monopoly over the industry, which continued until 1984, when a settlement with the US Department of Justice forced AT&T to relinquish its control over state markets. Soon, variations of the telephone would begin to appear all over the country in the form of payphones. William Gray, a resident of Hartford, Connecticut, patented the coin-operated telephone in 1889, and the first payphone was used in the Hartford Bank. Unlike modern payphones where payment is made up front, users of Gray's phone paid after completing their call. As the Bell system grew, payphones became more widespread. By the time payphones were introduced in 1905, there were already around 2.2 million phones, which grew to over 175 million by 1980. However, there are fewer than 500,000 operating in the US today. Why is this? What happened that led to the demise of the payphone? Well, that's coming up soon. You won't want to miss it. As payphones continued to be used in all major cities, their competition was slowly hitting the market. If you guessed mobile phones, you'd be correct. The earliest mobile phones were designed for vehicles and controlled by radio. They were expensive, bulky, and had a very short range. AT&T launched the network in 1946, but it was not popular. By 1980, it was replaced by the first cellular networks. Bell Labs, the research wing of AT&T, began developing the current cellular phone network in 1947. Although the necessary radio frequencies were not yet available, they had the idea of connecting phones wirelessly through a network of transmitters or cells. The first handheld cellular phone was introduced by Motorola in 1973. Eventually, cellular phones evolved into the invention that we all know and love today, smartphones. The invention of smartphones drastically changed how we functioned as a society. How so? Well, that's coming up next. But first, if you're enjoying this video, be sure to leave a like and of course subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any more awesome content like this. Let's get back to the video. Chances are you own a smartphone, and you probably can't imagine your life without it. Well, there's a good reason for that. Smartphones play a huge role in our day-to-day lives, and today we're going to go over some of the ways that they've changed our society. If you're someone who travels a lot, you'll know how much easier it is with your smartphone. In the pre-smartphone era, navigation required a lot more effort and planning. If you wanted to find your way to a new destination, you had to rely on physical maps, which could be bulky, difficult to read, and sometimes outdated. It was not uncommon for people to stop at a gas station or a convenience store to purchase a map, which they would then have to manually unfold and trace their route. If you were lucky, you might have had a friend who was a seasoned traveler or a human GPS and could guide you using their knowledge of the roads. In contrast, today's smartphones have made navigation incredibly easy and convenient. With GPS-enabled devices and real-time traffic updates, you can get turn-by-turn directions and up-to-date information about your route without having to pull over or take your eyes off the road. Additionally, smartphone apps like Google Maps and Waze provide alternative routes in case of traffic congestion or accidents, helping you save time and avoid delays. In short, navigation has come a long way from the days of physical maps and printed directions, and we owe much of that progression to the development of modern technology. Thanks to smartphones, you'll be able to arrive at your destination with ease. Now that you're there, you probably want to take a few pictures to remember your trip. Well, you're in luck, because a smartphone has you covered there as well. Today, having a high-quality camera on your smartphone is standard, and most phones come equipped with a range of different shooting modes, such as portrait, photo, and panoramic. However, this wasn't always the case. Prior to the rise of smartphones, if you wanted to capture special moments or memories, you would need to bring along a dedicated digital or film camera. Although smartphones are being criticized for making us less social, the opposite is actually true. We connect with fellow humans more and more thanks to smartphone technology. We can even connect with each other romantically because of this. Dating has undergone a significant transformation since the advent of smartphones. In the past, meeting new people and potential partners typically occurred through in-person social gatherings, like parties or bars, or through mutual friends. However, the rise of dating apps has revolutionized the way people approach dating. With a simple sign-up process and easy-to-use interface, apps like Tinder, Hinge, and OkCupid have made it possible to connect with potential partners with just a few swipes. This has opened up a whole new world of opportunities for people, allowing them to expand their social networks and explore romantic possibilities they might not have encountered otherwise. The convenience and accessibility of these apps have also made dating more accessible to people with busy schedules or social anxiety. However, the rise of dating apps has not been without its challenges, as people often struggle with issues like ghosting, catfishing, and the pressure to present themselves in the most appealing light. Smartphones aren't all fun and games. They can seriously help you build your career. With the advent of smartphones, leaving work early no longer means having to completely sign off and hope for the best until you get back at your computer. Instead, you can stay connected to your email, messages, and other work-related apps on your phone, allowing you to continue working even when you're on the go. While this may seem convenient, it can also blur the lines between work and personal time and make it difficult to truly disconnect from work. Some may even yearn for the days when they could leave work behind and focus on their personal life without the constant interruption of work notifications on their phone. Although that'd be nice, they'd miss out on some of the awesome benefits the smartphone provides, like staying up to date with the news with just a click of a button. The way people consume news has drastically changed with the advent of digital technology. In the past, the options for getting the news were limited to watching TV news programs in the morning or evening, or reading a physical newspaper. Now, with the rise of digital media, people have access to a wide range of news sources at their fingertips. From online articles and podcasts to social media feeds and push notifications on their phones, news is now available 24/7. This has made it easier for people to stay informed about the latest events, but it has also made it more challenging to navigate the sheer amount of information available. Additionally, the rise of fake news has made it even more important for people to be discerning about the sources they rely on for their news. And finally, a favorite function of the smartphone, being able to listen to your music. In the past, a good music collection often consisted of a large number of CDs that had to be carried in a case to listen to while out and about. Today, your phone can hold millions of songs, and music streaming services like Apple Music and Spotify provide instant access to new releases. There's no doubt that the smartphone is an important part of our lives and will probably continue to be so for many more years to come.